Sustainability objectives are no longer a luxury, and corporates in our region are further investing in sustainable goals, cutting down energy consumption levels, and reducing overall operations costs. But while experts are warning that the Arctic is melting on our watch, how can businesses in this region pitch in the solutions with the help of international partners such as Epson? More on this in the following report.
Companies and governments in the Middle East are increasingly embracing sustainability efforts as research continues to showcase new and effective technology to help reduce carbon emissions. The printing industry is no stranger to such research, considering the amount of consumables that companies produce on a monthly basis, from ink toners and paper waste all the way to electricity and energy costs. Heat-free printers are now considered one of the most effective solutions to reduce such consumption levels. According to Epson, if every laser printer in the UAE and Saudi Arabia was switched for an Epson Business Inkjet printer, there would be an energy saving of up to $3.6 million in electricity costs. So, the next time you reach to your laser printer to print that 300-page report, consider this. Laser printers can require more than double the amount of energy and consumables compared to inkjet printers, which is why eco-responsible printing is gaining momentum in our region.
So we welcome Neil Colquhoun, Vice President CISMEA of Epson. Welcome to Forbes Middle East. Stay online. Neil, what are the top priorities right now that companies in this region should focus on in their attempts to achieve sustainability, at the same time keeping cost effectiveness in mind?
Yeah, I think a few years ago, that question was on the periphery of business. I think many businesses felt sustainability was something for the future, but in recent years, it's become right at the center of what businesses do, not just in this region, but globally. And it's not so much about the cost of doing it now, it's more the cost of not doing it. So, for example, we know in this part of the world, we have the Expo, which is full of sustainability. There's a pavilion. We have Vision 21 from the UAE, Vision 2030 from Saudi, and Epson's own 2050 commitment to being carbon neutral by the end of that, the 2040s decade. So and also we move the conversation forward about costs in terms of applying costs. It's actually now about saving cost. And we have a statistic which is very, very instructive, which says that if we swap out all of the laser products in the UAE and Saudi Arabia, we save $3.6 million every single year in the cost of electricity. So actually, it's turning around now that businesses can save money and be sustainable for the future.
Fantastic. So since you mentioned swapping out, we're talking about solutions here. Epson is offering solutions. Give us some examples of technologies you are using to achieve what you just mentioned.
Yeah, so the example I gave there was our business print, which has fewer consumables, fewer parts. We spend $1.5 million every day on R&D, and customers tell us that they want simple and clean technology. So with the Epson micropiezo technology, we're able to put products into businesses that actually have fewer moving parts, which means obviously fewer service interventions, fewer parts that need to be replaced. And if I give an example here, this is an ink bottle. 4 of these ink bottles on our home printers, EcoTank, are actually the same as 79 cartridges. So just 4 of these. So 79 trips to the shop, 79 deliveries from an e-commerce site, all that additional cost in time and also in terms of interventions. It's incredibly instructive to see that this is the technology that's being accepted in the market now.
Great. Neil, since you're talking about examples and solutions as well, I'm going to take devil's advocate for a second. There's a lot of challenges facing organizations when we talk about some of these solutions. Give us some of the top challenges you're hearing from your own clients and how Epson is helping support.
Yeah, I would actually turn that question around. I'd say that again, in the past, maybe it has been seen as a challenge, but now it's more about if you don't have a sustainability policy, because a lot of tenders and a lot of business now is dependent on businesses showing their credentials. I think the biggest issue has always been around cost, but the impact on the environment now is becoming even more important. So we've have a partnership with National Geographic, the Turn Down the Heat campaign, and that's really giving the messages to business in this region and other regions that the status quo is not an option, that we have to go down the sustainability route. So therefore, this campaign, Turn Down the Heat, a micro piezo technology which is heat-free, is meeting the needs of these customers that are worried about cost, but also want to do something about sustainability, which I think in the future is going to be a prerequisite to doing business in this region, having a policy on sustainability.
Do you have some numbers you can share with us? I saw a very interesting infographic that you shared talking about how the Arctic is melting on our watch. And again, I ask you, how would you pitch, how would you convince companies that this is the top priority still, now that we put the cost aside and maybe it's a misconcept that sustainability is costly? Not anymore. What can you share with us regarding numbers?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the Turn Down the Heat campaign with National Geographic is highlighting the issues about global warming. And one of the key statistics is that in our heat-free micro piezo technology, 83% lower energy costs. So because we don't use heat inside the printer compared to laser technology. So the outcome for the customer is that they save money, and also the outcome for the customers, they get better service because we don't use heat, 50% quicker getting that first page out. So many people just want to print a couple of pages. So to have a very quick page coming out is very important.
Fantastic. I'm gonna conclude here briefly. What are you looking for in this before the end of this year? A top goal, a new technology, something you want to share with us?
The main goal is for Epson is 2050, and that is to be carbon negative by 2050. So each year goes by, we're making significant changes. We're looking to have all electricity coming from renewable sources in all Epson sites by 2023. We've signed up to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We have 17 of those. So we're always working towards climate change, gender balance, all these different goals year in, year out for this vision 2050. So I would say that each year we mark ourselves, see how we're doing, but the main goal is this carbon neutrality, carbon negative by 2050.
Perfect. We wish you all the luck on these goals, very ambitious goals for corporate and yourself as well in this region. Neil Colquhoun, Vice President CISMEA of Epson, thank you for joining us on Stay Online here on Forbes Middle East.